Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world.
I've been looking around for salvation. I've been looking around for the truth. All around me I see frustration, and I looked all over till I found you. I sit and listen to your stories, and you're telling me, please don't worry. There's a lot in this world you should know, and love in life is where you should go. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, then love in life will guide you. I know that life outside is so hard.
Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world, and welcome to tonight's live stream. Tonight we'll be talking to three Eastern Cape farmers, Greg Miles, as well as Hannes and George Viljoen. All the farmers are involved in the livestock industry in the Eastern Cape and have been targeted by various groups, including the NSPCA for cruelty to animals. This is the same SPCA who investigated the death through neglect of over 50 animals of the farm of the Speaker of the Parliament, Thandi Modise, in 2014. Let's have a look at this extraordinary situation that happened back there. Now this, remember, is the farm of the Speaker of the Parliament, the current Speaker of the Parliament.
The SPCA was called to Thandi Modise's farm in the northwest after receiving a tip-off that animals on the land had been abandoned. What they found shocked them.
It's the worst farmer issue, that the cruelty that I've come across in the 20 years that I've been with the SPCA. It's horrific. We're all at a loss of words.
The SPCA decided to euthanize the remaining pigs on the farm after it was discovered they were cannibalizing the dead pigs. Attempts to dispose of the sheep carcasses.
Okay, now there's a valid case for the SPCA to go after. But guess what? The SPCA did nothing, and it took AfriForum to get Modise's case to court earlier this year. The case is still before the courts. Now, it's interesting that despite this fact, the NSPCA are now targeting the livestock or export livestock industry. And they're claiming that sheep and cattle are badly treated while en route to the Middle East. Our guests tonight are livestock farmers who paint a very different picture to that of the NSPCA. Let's look at a short video of sheep being loaded on the ship. Here we go. See, the sheep are in perfect condition, and I've got other videos which show within the actual ship itself they are very, very well looked after. Absolutely no issues at all. Alright, now let's get our three guests on. Yes, we got three Eastern Cape farmers joining us. Here we go. Give me a second. Hi, Greg.
How's it?
Excellent, mate. Excellent. Good to see you. Let me just get Hannes and George on, and then we're ready to rock and roll.
100%.
Okay, Hannes is just joining us. I'll just get George on as well. Hi, Hannes.
Hi, how are you?
Excellent. I believe you know Greg. I think you're neighbours, aren't you?
Yeah, he's my neighbor.
Cool. Cool. I'm just waiting for George to... Oh, George has joined us, I think. Hi, George.
I'm on.
I can't see your picture. Or your video, rather. I can just see your little icon.
Well, let me see. No, the video is on. I can see Hannes, I can see Greg.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, it's okay. We'll leave it like that because we can hear you, and that's the main thing. All right.
Okay.
Now, let's get started. Before we get into the actual discussion on this subject with the NSPCA, let's first look at a bit of your backgrounds. And let's start off with you, Greg, if you want to give us a bit of your background and how you got into the livestock industry. And
Okay.
also, if you wouldn't mind talking to us about, you're an ex-Springbok, aren't you?
Endurance rider, yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about that too. Okay, over to you.
Okay. My forefathers arrived in the 1820 settlers, and my son's the sixth generation on the farm. So we're from farming stock. So basically all my life, of my dad's been farming and I've been farming. So there wasn't a time where I decided, like, okay, I'm gonna go livestock farming. It was a given, and
It's in the family.
It's been a form of income for generations.
Right. Okay. And with the export or exporting sheep, you've been doing that for years as well?
No, it hasn't. I think there's only 2 shipments that have gone, and it's something that started recently.
Right.
I haven't had any sheep on the last 2 shipments, but I just we've come out of one of the worst droughts in living memory, and our farmers need this business, and for us farmers, animal welfare isn't negotiable. It's a must, and it must be of the highest standard.
Absolutely. All right, we'll get on to that in a moment, Greg. Hannes, over to you. Tell us a bit about your background. I guess you're very much like Greg. You were just brought up in the industry.
Yeah. My family's also been farming here for probably over 200 years. Also stock farming, sheep and cattle mostly. And yeah, it's just been passed down the generations. I'm very fortunate to be able to farm with my dad. I've been 3 years actively on the farm, and yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. And I think we actually, I think it's a very good lifestyle we live, and it's our passion. That's what we do. That's what we live for. Every morning to wake up and to work with our stock and look after our animals and make sure they're in the perfect condition.
Yeah. Look, I totally get that. George, tell us your background. Now, obviously, Hannes is your son.
Yeah, he's my son. Well, our family here in the Stadtruim district, I think Hannes is now the fourth or the fifth generation on this farm. It was actually my father-in-law started the farming. Well, his family started here, so we took over from him. I grew up in Middelburg in the Eastern Cape, also on a livestock farm. Farmed there for 30 years with my dad. Well, grew up, I left there 30 years ago. Well, when I was 30 years old. And we sold the farm there. So I grew up with livestock, sheep farming all my life as well. Came here, married my wife, came here, started to farm with my father-in-law, and then took the farms over after he passed on. And now, well, fortunately, I've got my son Hannes with me. And yeah, we're going on very well and enjoy the livestock. Same as what Greg said. animal welfare it's not negotiable. We want our animals to be in good condition. Doesn't matter where they go, whatever happened to them.
Right.
I see Greg said there's 2 shipments. I think this last shipment was the 3rd shipment that went out.
Right. Okay. Now,
And sorry, Scott, and we had on all 3 shipments we had stock on that ship on that vessel. So.
right. Well, I've seen videos of the stock on the boat, which was sent to me by Greg, and they look in perfect condition. They've got lots of food, lots of water. They aren't cramped. They've got lots of cool air. They look like they're very well cared for. But this is where things take a nasty turn, because I was pointed to a website that's actually been taken down now, and I'll just show that to everybody, just so you can actually see what I'm talking about. There it is. There, it's a site called StopLiveExports.com. Now, Greg, tell us a bit about that site. What was on that site? Tell us where they got these photos showing livestock being abused.
I only got that email recently from Ali, the head of Almawashi in South Africa, and I don't know much more than you. I briefly read through it, and from what I understand, there was a lot of untruths, and it was reported to the relevant bodies and the service providers. Obviously, Almawashi must have given evidence that there were a lot of untruths, and as a result of that page was closed down. When I went to the page, it shows there this page is closed. Yeah,
I've just shown that page, and it says site closed. Now, George, back to you. Have you ever had the NSPCA ever approach you on the farm and suggest that you're doing things the wrong way before?
No, they've never been here on my farm.
Okay.
And I won't allow them on the farm.
Right. But when it comes to their claims now, what are they exactly that the problem is with the export market of livestock?
Scott, if I can say, it all is sensation. The whole NSPCA drive on this thing is sensation. The more sensation they can create, the bigger donations they get. There's as you've seen those videos that Greg put on the websites and the Facebook and all over, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the animals.
Right.
But they put that terrible photos on Facebook and wherever, and let me tell you, these rich people in Joburg, their wives sit in coffee shops and say, "Oh, look at these poor animals. They want donation." You go on the NSPCA's Facebook page. You go through it at the bottom. Please donate. That's not the way I think things should be done.
No, I totally get it. And I think a lot of those images that they use were actually, I'm just showing video footage right now of the sheep on the boat, and you can see that there's absolutely no problem with those sheep. Sorry, it's just gone off again. It's a very short clip. I think the images that they got are actually from a 60 Minutes report to do with Australia. And this was back several years ago. And they're certainly totally unrelated to the conditions of the sheep that you are shipping to the Middle East. Now, one would think that you would actually, get the carcasses ready and ship them across to the Middle East. Now, there's a very good reason why you can't do that. Why is that, Greg? Why do you have to send live sheep over to the Middle East?
It's due to religious reasons. I mean, if we could send all the sheep to an abattoir here and slaughter and package and freeze them, it would be wonderful. There'd be so much jobs created, but for religious reasons, the people in the Middle East have got rituals, and only because of that they must be sent live. And obviously, it's in the interest of Omawashi that the sheep arrive there in good condition, because nobody's going to buy a thin sheep, half dead sheep for a ritual.
Now, you told me that you were present, or someone you knew was present at the last loading of something like 25,000 sheep onto one of these vessels. And nothing was said until the very end. Tell us the story. What happened?
I think you can ask Hannes that.
All
I
right,
was
Hannes?
there only for about 2 hours.
Hannes, can I pass that over to you?
Perfect, Scott. Yes, I was there the Monday morning of the loading. I think we loaded about 25,000 sheep for the day, and I was just there to help. And for me, it was the first time being there, and it was really good for me to see what's happening there and to get a good perspective of what's happening there. And I mean, the sheep that I saw was really in very, very good condition. They were healthy. There was nothing wrong. I just had a peek into the ship, how it looks in there, and the sheep was really in good condition. And so basically what I saw, there was about 7 vets there the whole day, or throughout the day, that monitored the whole situation. And then every ramp where we offloaded sheep, there was a SPCA person, representative, 1 or 2 of them there.
Right.
And I mean, the stuff that they pointed out was absolutely a joke. I mean, they're really looking for anything, to try to find anything that's wrong, and there's nothing wrong. So, I mean, you just can't understand it. It's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous.
I can understand why George keeps them off the farm. Now, talking about the farm, before we actually got you on live, I just demonstrated the duplicity of the SPCA. Because you might recall back in 2014, the Speaker of the Parliament, Thandi Modise, she neglected her pigs and other animals to such an extent that 50 died of lack of water and lack of food. They starved to death. And the SPCA were there, and they said, we're going to take this all the way to court, and they did nothing. Nothing ever happened about it until AfriForum stepped in earlier this year and said, what's going on here? And now she's actually having to face court. So it does appear that there are double standards when it comes to the SPCA and the way they treat things. What's your experience on this, George?
Scott, definitely. They've got double standards. I mean, here we've got in our next door or next neighbor district of people cattle got hacked to death. Cattle got slaughtered. They got pieces cut out of them while they're alive.
Oh, it's shocking.
And we asked the SPCA to please help. The chaps asked them, please help them to get the police on board that we can catch those criminals. And they did nothing because there's no sensation on it. There's no sensation driving what you call it on that type of what they ever do, And you go into these, I don't know how you want to say, these locations and stuff. The dogs, the cattle, the sheep, the goats neglected there.
Yeah.
Tied to chains, cattle tied to chains, sheep tied to chains on their back legs and stuff like that. And nothing happens there. You know why? Because they're scared to go in there first, and there's no sensation on that story. Now that our farmers are now an easy target to create sensation, and that's what they want.
I was just about to say, you're a soft target.
Yeah, absolutely. We're soft targets. This is now a very soft target for the SPCA, this Omawashi. I mean, they said on the radio, this Grace de Lange said the people kick and hit the sheep in the face. That is the biggest lot of nonsense you can ever think of. I mean, all those chaps that are working in the feedlot, they are all ex-farmers or are still farmers.
Right.
Why will the farmers do that? I mean, you might direct it in a direction by giving it a little bit of just turn the face into a direction or whatever, but I can't see that farmers will kick and hit them in the face and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And drag them by the horns. That's how we pull sheep off That's how we drag sheep off trucks. The first one, you gotta get some one or other way off the truck, so you drag it by the horns off, because it's gotta go on, you know.
Well,
so I mean, that's all just sensation, Scott. The biggest thing is sensation, and the bigger the sensation, the bigger the income. That's what they are running on.
Right. Well, look, there's one very logical observation here. And you've been in the livestock business for generations. Now, if you were mistreating your animals, you wouldn't have any livestock. So obviously the care of your animals is, as Hannes said just now, is critical. I mean, that is just making sure the animals are in perfect condition.
Absolutely. I mean, and Almawashi, those chaps, those people, they get paid for the sheep that they offload live on the other side.
Right.
So they don't get paid for a dead sheep. So the more live sheep they can offload, the bigger their profit or whatever is, you know. So
yeah.
I mean, and I'm telling you, we sorry, I don't want to take the conversation over, but we had a meeting with Harry Nell, Advocate Harry Nell, because he was representing the SPCA on a previous court case against Almawashi. And Ilyas Ali, the CEO of Almawashi South Africa, was on that meeting, and he said to Harry Nell, we've invested 120 million rand into this thing this year. Do you think we won't abide to protocol and laws, international laws with the export of sheep? So, I mean, no person will put that amount of money and just let the sheep die. I mean, you must think for yourself. It's not a...
It's a ridiculous suggestion. I just want to address people watching. We got well over 200 people watching, about 250 people watching at the moment. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed to the Loving Life channel. And also, please leave your questions in the side chat, and I'll ask the moderators to pick them up, and we'll put them to the farmers a little bit later in this discussion. Now, what exacerbates the situation, and I think this is something that Greg brought up very early on in the piece, is that you know, the export livestock market is a way that farmers can earn an income, and with the worst drought in history, this is exactly what you need to survive. Now, do you want to just add to that now, Greg?
The SPCA they've drawn a line in the sand, and they say it's not negotiable. They will not discuss anything, and they are not interested in anything to do with livestock exports. So I think, and I'm glad as farmers have taken up the battle. It's the first time after the first shipment. Well, this last shipment, when Hannes was loading there, I went down, and that lady, Talia, she escorted me around the ship and everything, and I was pleasantly surprised on the conditions. And those videos are changing people's minds. The last shipment, I was blocked off the NSPCA page. I created another Facebook page called Miles Greg.
Right.
And every time someone commented on their Facebook page, the sheep are drowning and they can't breathe, I'd put on a video to substantiate it. Yeah. And the SPCA simply just deleted all those videos, and they blocked me. And these snowflakes are very, very quick to give us death threats. I don't know how many death threats and I had from the first shipment, and they're just a horrible bunch who are fed a lot of lies by the SPCA.
Yeah. Look, I get it. I've heard what they do. I'm just showing a couple of images right now, of short videos of the stuff that you sent me, Greg, and people can see for themselves the great condition, and you know, there's lots of food, lots of water. There's absolutely no issue with the sheep. And this is on board the actual ship, isn't it?
That's correct. One of the videos, I can't remember, Talia sent me a video. It was that's when the ship was going, it left East London Harbour and had to go to Port Elizabeth to refuel because they were, people don't realise the SPCA made those sheep. The SPCA say that the sheep suffer in a feedlot. They made those sheep stay an extra 3 months in the feedlot. And obviously as a result, the boat ran out of fuel and oil and all that. And one of those videos was taken while the ship was at sea. And I'm telling you, the conditions were quite bad at sea because it couldn't leave the Port Elizabeth harbour because the waves were something like 2 meters and the ship was only allowed to leave when the waves are 1.5 meters. And I clearly remember I went to the NSPCA page and they wrote on their Facebook page, the ship has gone missing, Al-Mawashi won't communicate with them. And Ali obviously got upset and he quickly sent me all his communication with the NSPCA. And so they were blatantly lying. And till today they haven't given update. So I did send you all those screen captures and that.
Yeah, I've got that. Yeah. Now you mentioned the ship being stuck for 3 months in port. George, can you tell us what actually happened there?
Scott, yeah, you see what happened there. They put what you call it. You know, they stopped the loading of the ship because of this court case. And this court case was dragging out for 3 months because the ship was on its way back, so South Africa waiting to be loaded. And they stopped the ship for 3 months, and the ship had to hang around in East London, in the harbour around the East London coast here, waiting for this court case to get over. And that's why, I mean, that Talia said in one of those videos of Greg, she said she sat on the ship for, I don't know how many, 130 days or whatever, doing nothing because of this court case. So, I mean, the SPCA, as Greg said, let that sheep stay longer for 3 months in that feedlot. They could have been long gone to the Middle East and been sorted out. I mean, and we could have had more sheep in the next round already. So yeah, I'm not 100% on the court case story, but that is what I think it is. I mean, Hannes and Greg can correct me if I'm wrong.
Greg, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, not on that one. But when Hannes was loading, he sent me a voice message and he said of the 25,000 sheep that day, only 2 were injured. One was limping and one had bumped its horn. Now, the SPCA also put out in a press release that there were no experienced vets there. I bumped into a very good friend of mine, is a vet, Dr. Vusi Khozane. He was one of the vets that vetted my horse when I won my Springbok colours in 2001.
Right.
And he was present. So, and the SPCA put out a press release that there were no experienced vets present. So, I think the SPCA are almost like people. It's like you wouldn't expect a minister of the church to do anything wrong, and people don't think the SPCA can do wrong. But I've learned so much about their deviousness and their ways of doing things, and they'll suddenly say the sheep have been kicked and hit, and there are no vets there. I was there. I saw Dr. Vusi Khozane, and Hannes will be able to add more. I wasn't there the whole day.
Hannes?
Yeah, so like I actually want to say it like we usually say, you pack the bull by the horns, you know, and that's one of the things that SPCA mentioned out, that the sheep gets pulled by the horns and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, I can agree that there was absolutely nothing wrong. I mean, I think there was about 7 vets there. The NSPCA was at every offloading point and at the loading point where the sheep got onto the ramp on the ship. So at any point when they saw something wrong, they could have said, Hannes or whoever is working there, because they know all of us, They could have just said, just have a look there. There's something wrong there, or please improve on that. And I mean, they didn't say anything. They sit there with their little notebooks, and then they write a lot of stuff, and then they'll just send warnings to the load master on the ground. And I mean, it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. They've got a hidden agenda, and I don't agree with them.
Right, now let me carry on. One.
If those vets are there all day, if the SPCA are there all day with their phone, how come they haven't been able to come up with one shred of evidence of animals being mishandled? If they're there the whole day with their phones. I was there for 2 hours with my phone, and I must have got 50, 60, 70 videos of evidence of sheep being well cared for.
Right. Now, Hannes, I want to go back to you again. How does animal rights groups, or how do animal rights groups work, like the NSPCA? Tell us how they actually operate.
I think this is one of the most important sections of info that the people should know out there. Because I'm in the hunting industry too, and in the farming industry, and I mean, I know how these people work, and for them, it's pretty basic. It's all about money. So what they do is they play on hulle speel op jou gevoel. They manipulate you. They put photos of animals, small animals. It's like a rhino that's poached and with a little baby next to its mother that's been shot, and they'll use photos like that. And then what they'll do is they'll get people to sponsor money, and then that money obviously doesn't go to the right cause. So it's all money making. So what will happen is, with that money they generate out of all that sensation, like my dad said earlier, they'll take that money, and then obviously 90% of it will be, let's call it admin fees, and 10% will go to the real cause. And then obviously the top people in some of those organizations pull big salaries. They've got designer handbags, they wear designer clothes. I mean, something doesn't make sense. And I think it's important for people that doesn't know how they work to realize how these people work and how they manipulate you to get your money to fund their lifestyle, their rich lifestyle.
Right. So what we're saying in effect is that if they can find something that they can blow up into a viral story on their Facebook page or their website, and everybody goes and says, "Oh, that's terrible, we better go and send some money to the SPCA," that's what they're looking for. Now, you raised a very interesting point just now, Greg. You said that they don't go into the townships where you've got cows which are chained to poles, and they're in terrible condition, and same with sheep. And I can relate to this because I used to live in the Akopa area in what was then Southern Natal. I used to go into the townships, and there, some of the animals, the condition of them was absolutely shocking. But the SPCA don't seem to take any interest in that, do they?
I think that was George's.
Was that George?
You can answer that when you brought it up, yes.
Yeah, George, do you want to respond to that?
Absolutely, Scott. They're not interested in that because they're scared to go into these locations, these black areas, places like that, because they know they're going to get chased away, or they might be attacked or whatever. So they don't go in there. I mean, on one of these Facebook pages, or Facebook comments, the woman in Stadtruim said, someone asked her, why don't you take money and spay these dogs and sort it? She said, but they haven't got money. But they've got money to spend 2 million rand on a court case. I mean, something's not lekker here. Somewhere is money hanging around and it doesn't get to the people on the ground level that's got to do the work.
Right.
So, that's how they work. And I'd love to comment on the income for the farmers as well, or someone's,
Yeah, please do, because we're talking about how this drought has actually impacted the farmers in the Eastern Cape. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Scott, we're coming through a drought. I reckon this drought started in 2001. Although we weren't in a drought from 2001, but it started then because we're getting less and less rain. But leave it there. The income for this thing, if we as livestock farmers get a decent income, which we all want to. I mean, I don't want to live in luxury. I just want to live and I want to pay my staff on the farm. But if we get a much better income for our livestock, then the things are just much. The opportunities are. You can't think about the opportunities. All of a sudden, our input suppliers, we can buy more stuff from them. They can employ more people. Our ram breeders, we can buy better rams and more rams, so they can employ more people. We, as such, can employ more people. The feedlot, they've got, I think, 200 people in there. They said if they can export 600,000 sheep a year, they'll have about 600 people there. Just imagine what's that going to do to the economy. Then they can buy, it's not going to, just for us as livestock farmers, all of a sudden they can buy more fruit, they can buy more vegetables. So the whole farming industry is going to benefit on this thing. So, I mean, the opportunities are, you can't, it's uncountable, the opportunities in this thing.
Right. Now
me and Hannes we've got 5 staff on the farms now. We can put up to 10 staff if we can more than double our sheep numbers.
Right.
And that's what we are planning to do. We want to double our sheep numbers because if we can get this market, it's worth it.
Right. Now, how many how many sheep
yes?
did you lose due to the drought?
Well, we saw. Well, I didn't lose. I didn't have sheep that died of the drought.
Right.
We sold a lot of sheep to let the others survive on to buy food with that money to let your stock, what you call it, your core stock, survive. That you can. But now we're going on. We had a good season in the beginning of the year, so we're going on again. And luckily with Hannes with me, we're going to double our numbers in a very short time.
Okay, now I think we've got a member of the NSPCA watching tonight, and she's made a few comments in the side chat. And look, that's great. Let's put them to the farmers. Her name is Maggie Wilson, and she says the NSPCA have an outreach unit, assistance in impoverished areas. And then she says you are uninformed. Now, have you heard of that outreach unit, or do you know what they do, George?
Never heard of them.
Okay.
Never heard of them.
And you've had a lot of contact over the years with these, with what you're talking about, haven't you?
Well, me and Greg, the local SPCA in Stadtruim, we've donated feed to the NSPCA. I mean, he has donated much more than what I've donated. They've taken a dog, adopted a dog out of the SPCA. And the SPCA, I mean, all of a sudden, you talk people in Stadtruim, they just said nothing, they want nothing to do with the SPCA. I mean, I've never heard of this impoverished unit of the SPCA. That's
outreach unit.
Yeah, outreach unit. Yeah, I've never heard of them.
Right. Have you heard of it, Greg?
No, I haven't. But I'm very anti the SPCA. But there is a lot of good work that they do. There are places really that do good work. But I think they need to just prioritize on concentrate on where work's needed instead of wasting all this money on good cases. We can't say all the SPCA is bad, but anything to do with the ship, I think, in my opinion, is very skewed and very devious. I got a video of a lady that was sent to me. a lot of the sheep there have been hand raised, and they'll come up to you. And there was a lady from the SPCA trying to get a sheep to drink from a bottle of water, and she was trying to video it, and people captured this. Hannes was there. I don't know if he saw it. I got the video, but can you imagine what the caption will be on that video? Sheep are dying of thirst. They're so thirsty they even drink from a bottle. And then I got another video of a lot of sheep walking up to one of the vets' wives there. So of all the sheep that were loaded, there's a large percentage that were hand raised, and that shows that farmers care, because we look after them. And I don't know if you saw that woman, Hannes.
I just saw the video, and it's just before I got there at the farm, not at the ship.
Right. I guess the big issue that the farmers have, and collectively they have, is that the way the SPCA appears to operate is to find something that's controversial. They can spin it in the media, and from that they can get donations. I mean, that's what we're saying. And if something is not controversial, if it's not going to earn them an income, then it's like left off the agenda. Is that basically, in summary, what we're talking about?
100% correct.
George?
No. Yes, no, 100% correct. No, 100%.
And to you, Hannes, you agree with that as well?
I agree 100%, yeah.
Well, probably the
100%.
best way to resolve this is to sit down with the NSPCA and talk to them about this, and maybe just bringing out this video and having this discussion will alert them to this fact, because clearly it seems a bit strange when the videos I've seen of those sheep on the ship. They're in excellent condition. They've been looked after. The trade is very, very important for South Africa. I mean, let's face it, the economy in South Africa is completely cactus, especially thanks to the corruption in the ANC, but now exacerbated by this lockdown. So any income South Africa can get is incredibly important. What are your thoughts about that, George?
Absolutely. You know, Scott, I want to say, all of a sudden, after this whole thing, the donations from farmers to the SPCA has dried up. All of the farmers just said, we stopped donating. If we can get this thing going without any trouble from the SPCA, there will be much more bigger donations from farmers to the SPCA. The farmers will help the SPCA in whatever case they want. They must just come and talk, not come with hidden agendas and try to stop with nonsense, old videos and old stories of old ships, and there's a story that people got paid on a ship to let that sheep suffer. Put the air conditioners off and let the sheep suffer. They got paid to do that. And that's the videos that the SPCA is using against us. But as I said, if we can get this thing going, I'll bet you that if the SPCA is working with us, help us, they're welcome to come and have a look and say, right, this is wrong, do this. Hannes, you were loading here, as Hannes said, go to that point, check there's something wrong there, sort it out, fine, 100%. And us as farmers will help the SPCA again. I mean, I'm an animal lover. I'm not an animal hater, but I'm a what you call it, a realistic person, not an unrealistic person.
Yeah. Now, Greg, you said that the SPCA compare the ship to a death chamber. It is in buyers' best interest to keep sheep as healthy as possible on the ship. Can you just speak to that?
I was amazed in those ventilation shafts how much wind there was, and you can see on the videos there was so much wind coming out, even though the water was moving. And then in the one video, I asked Talia what that sheep was doing lying down, and she said, no, that's like a dog traveling in the vehicle. It's putting its head out the window. I must try and look exactly which video, but one of those videos...
I've actually got it here. Let me put it up. Give me a second. I'll just drag it up here. Where are we? I think it's this one here. All right, I'm just going to put this video on, so that everybody can see it. Let me just see. Here we go. It's not that one. I know I have got it here.
I think it's the one where she was smiling.
Yeah, I've got that one. You can see the wind blowing out of it. I think it might be this one. Let me just do that. See what that is. Oh, here we go.
What are these sheep here doing?
So that little sheep is, just enjoying the air. Like a dog would if you put the window down in the car. It's exactly the same.
Okay, I've shown those two little video clips where you can actually see the sheep sort of enjoying the cool, fresh air coming out through those ventilation shafts. Okay, so look, we got a couple of people.
Sorry, there was also one video showing the sheep disembarking on the last shipment, and they were in immaculate condition. And Ali from Almawashi told me that that 0.04% of the sheep died. Now, I think the standard figure, you're allowed up to 3% in a feedlot. So that, I haven't got it in front of me, but one of those sheep were sheep disembarking and arriving in the Middle East, and they were in immaculate condition.
Okay, but the point you're making is that in the last shipment, there was a mortality rate of 0.04% in the sheep, and that's the sheep that got off the other end. Now that's pretty extraordinary. That's pretty exceptional. I'd love to hear the comment of the people who are from the NSPCA. We've got a couple in here who are making comments, and that's great. Let's have the discussion. But don't you think 0.04% mortality rate from leaving South Africa and arriving in the Middle East is pretty damn good? What are your thoughts on that, Hannes?
Scott, I think it's fantastic. Firstly, sheep die. We work every day with sheep.
Yeah.
We get diseases, and we try for them not to die. We do our absolute best to make sure our sheep stay in top condition, because that's when they look the best after us, is when they can produce and they're healthy. So, from my point of view, if you take 0.015 on average, it's on that amount of sheep. It's very good. I think it's even better than most farmers are getting, to be honest. I think it's really, really good. I'm very impressed. I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Okay. Now I've got a comment here from Frick Brits who says, "What about seasickness? Surely sheep will suffer from this as well. I know dogs get seasick as well, even in cars." Any thoughts on that, George?
I've never heard of that. I don't have any.
Well,
that's the first time that I heard of that.
If you look at the mortality rate, I think that there's obviously not an issue there.
No, it's not an issue. The mortality rate. Someone said, if you have livestock, you're going to have dead stock. So you got to accept sheep is going to die. There is going to be mortalities on the ship, but at 0.04. That's exceptional.
Yeah, I get it.
We load a truck. We load a truck here with 200 sheep to whoever. The chances are good that one will be dead on the other side. There is a chance that it'll die. So, it happens, and it happens. You can't do anything about it. It happens.
But clearly, the animals on the ship are well cared for. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a mortality rate so low. That's the bottom line. Let's face it.
If you see that videos of Greg there, with the space they've got, that's exceptional. That space. Those sheep have got more than enough space to do whatever they want to do on that ship, if I can say it like that. They've got. There's more than enough food. There's more than enough water. And some of those videos, when the sheep got onto the ship and it got into his pen, it walked straight to the feed trough and starts eating, and some start drinking water. Right. So they know the water. They know the situation where they are in. And they adapted to a feedlot, because they come out of a feedlot now for 5-6 months. They were standing in a feedlot.
Right.
So,
You want to say something, Greg?
Sorry, I see there's a guy who commented here, Trevor Urto. He says the NSPCA allowed to the public on how long these voyages take. Previously, they claimed the ships of shame and the animal movement called these ships took 21 to 30 days. So they're always lying on how long the shipment takes.
How long does it take?
I think it was like 14 days or something like that.
Okay. Now, there's also a comment here from Shingwedzi Glenn, who says, why can't the animals be processed in South Africa? Now, I know you've spoken about that already, Greg, but you just want to explain to Shingwedzi what the situation is?
Yeah, we'd love to process them, yeah, because it'll be work and opportunity for all of us, but it's religious. The guys in the East need to do ceremonies, and buying sheep is religious for them. And if we could package them here, it would be the best thing ever. There could be work for anyone. There'd be more abattoirs, more people could get employed. The sheep could be processed and frozen and sent across. But unfortunately, the buyers want them alive. Right. And that's out of our hands. It's not our decision.
Right. And Bruce Basters has asked a related question. He says, are the farmers not concerned as to how the sheep are slaughtered once they reach the Middle East? The sheep have their throats slit while they're still alive. Do you have a comment on that?
Yeah. South Africa also has a lot of sheep that are bought for religious reasons. How are they treated? Do the SPCA go to the sale and sheep get tied up, their legs tied up together and get put in a boot and go home? Nothing gets said about that. Right. And lots of sheep are slaughtered for religious reasons here in South Africa, and I maybe think it's worse than the other side. I can't comment, but yeah.
Well, look, I mean, the bottom line is that we eat meat, and the only way you can kill a sheep is by cutting its throat. I mean, when you eat a chicken, that chicken has had its head cut off. It's a gruesome thing to talk about, but it's the reality of the situation. Do we all become vegetarians and stop eating meat, or do we just accept that this is the reality of the meat that we eat? I know that they've got slaughterhouses now where they shock the animals and they do all these different things, but it's not a pleasant experience for an animal to go through when it's slaughtered. It doesn't matter whether it happens in the Middle East or whether it happens in South Africa, wherever it happens. But if you want meat on your plate, that's the way it's got to happen. Any thoughts on that, George?
Yeah, that's the way it happens. I grew up in a sheep farm. That's how we slaughter our own sheep. That's how we did it for ourselves. And it is a gruesome story, but that's the way it happens. As you said, the chickens get chopped off. If you go to an abattoir, all those heads got chopped off. They got hanged up in the air and to let the blood out and all that. So that's happening. If you want meat on your plate, that's how it's happened. That's how it's been done.
So the option for people who are concerned about that is to... Yeah, carry on. Carry on, George.
The vegans I think the vegans are even more a problem to animals because they eat the animals' food. They eat the veggies and all the stuff what the animals should eat.
Right.
There's a woman, Volmar, her husband's one of the vets who helps on the ship, and she just brought to my attention a very, very interesting fact. The Almawashi abattoir is a world-class abattoir. So not all these sheep are bought and their throats cut. A lot of them go through the abattoir there as well, I think, and are halal. So and they've released. People must go and have a look at the Almawashi app, and people can order as well. It's a top class abattoir. It's one of the best in the world.
Right. Okay, let's continue on. I'm just sort of keeping an eye on the side chat to see what the discussion is there. I think we're going to have a few more vegetarians after the show. But I love my meat. I just love my meat. Okay, now the SPCA, they've got a website, haven't they? Where people can share ideas and stuff like that.
I think most of their sharings on their Facebook page.
Oh, the Facebook page. No.
They do have a website, obviously, but a lot of the interactions on their Facebook page.
Okay, and if they're not happy with what people say, is it correct to suggest that they remove and block people?
100%. All. I wasn't rude to anyone this time. When people were asking, they were saying, "Oh, the sheep are going on the ship of death," and I'll post a video on what conditions they are. And people were quite surprised how good the conditions were. And then all of a sudden, it doesn't suit their narrative. They delete and remove all the videos that show them up. And these videos, it's the first time videos are coming out like this. And I've got some friends all over, and a lot of the lady friends and people have said to me, wow, they've totally changed their mindset and what they think of the SPCA after they've been following all my posts on Facebook and Twitter. Carte Blanche, I spoke to one of the ladies there, and I said, next time they do a program, we would like a right of reply as farmers, and she said, that's fine. We've never had a right of reply. They always post horrific old photos to be blunt, of sheep drowning in shit. That just doesn't happen. And it's like if you put a little puppy on a page. I saw the other day there was a little Jack Russell puppy. It just pulls on the heartstrings, and people wants to donate. And when they see sheep drowning and in shit, the people donate.
Yeah. Now, Maggie, I see that Maggie Wilson is. I think she is from the SPCA, and she's saying some things in the side chat, which is great. Maggie, if you'd like to Skype me, perhaps we can get Maggie to join the discussion, to give the SPCA side. How do you guys feel about that?
That's fine.
You happy with that, Hannes and George?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Look, Maggie, if you want to Skype me, my Skype is Scott's phone. I'll get you into the discussion. And
Scott's phone with an F.
With an F, yeah. I'm just going to. That's my Skype.
To answer the question, we do have people who can take videos of the sheep getting off on the other side, and we posted videos of the last shipment of the sheep getting off.
Right. Now let me just see if I can get. I'm just waiting to see if Maggie's going to contact me. Okay. Well, look, we'll just continue. I've extended the invitation to Maggie. I'll just shut that down again for a moment. Okay. All right. Let's continue. Now, the SPCA claimed there were no experienced vets at the loading on the Monday, but Dr. Zuzi Razani, pronounced Gazani, was there. Okay, so tell us a bit about that, Craig.
Well, Ani arrived there, and I was there for a few hours, and I went and greeted him, and he's been practicing these many years, so they blatantly lie about saying that there aren't any experienced vets there. And unfortunately, well, I think the case is that the government vets aren't allowed to comment on social media. They compile a report all of them together and what happens. And we need to get hold of that report, and it'll give the true facts. And geez, with all these snowflakes around, no one in their right mind, even if they did kick or hit sheep, would do it in front of them, and just doesn't happen. I don't think they understand. They think a sheep's being brutalized if it's pulled off the truck by a horn. It's the same as you're going for a walk with your dog, and it's you're trying to cross the stream, and you just give it a nudge on its collar to follow you. A sheep doesn't feel pain if you pull on the base of its horn. It's just helping it off the truck, and sheep all follow each other. And once the first sheep jumps off, the rest will all follow.
Well, look, I find it extraordinary that when you think about the way sheep live, I mean, they eat thorny shit, and they probably get thorns in their mouth, and they have problems, and that's where the farmers fix it all up. How do you kind of pull out some little situation where they've been pulled by the horns and make that like it's a serious incident when you consider the lifestyle of a sheep? Hannes, what are your thoughts on that?
I want to say one thing, and that's if you look at rams, mature rams when they fart, and you see the amount of force I mean, it is insane. It sounds like two trucks hit each other. I mean, literally pulling it off by the horns is definitely not going to hurt it or harm it by any way. And I mean, I think for anyone that thinks it's going to hurt a sheep must just go have a look when two rams are fighting, how brutal that it's
Okay, so I'm getting a very clear picture of what you guys are feeling, and it's a pity that that lady, what's her name, Maggie Wilson, hasn't Skyped me, because I think she would be quite good to have in the discussion. But the big issue really is that there seems to be a huge misunderstanding between the NSPCA and the livestock farmers about it's almost like a duty of care that the farmers have for their livestock, and the same thing applies to the shippers shipping the livestock over to the Middle East, because as you say, if something arrives in the Middle East dead, they're not going to get paid for it. So it's in their interest to make sure that everything survives.
Exactly.
George, your thoughts on that?
Exactly, Scott. I mean, as I said previous, if I know my sheep is going to be on a ship where they drown in the dung and they don't get fed, and there's not enough cooling systems, and there's not enough water, I will never put my sheep on that ship. I will never do it, because I love my sheep. And when Hannes can prove it, we love our sheep. So, and as I said, those chaps, Ali said to us at night with a meeting with Harry Nell, that this year they put 120 million in for the investment. Next year is going to be 220 million. Now, do people really think that people that invest that money will blow up the story by not adhering to the protocols and the OIE standards and all that? I mean, and as I said, that they get paid for the sheep that jumps off alive on the other side. They don't get paid for a sheep that's dead. So, so that's why they got a 0.04 mortality rate on that ship, because they look after the sheep.
Fantastic. Now, Lazina Sheikh has said, Al-Mawashi asked the NSPCA to work with them on a protocol for every shipment going forward, and they refused to work with the exporter. The exporter opened a direct line of communication to them. What does that say to you? Do you think that they're just not interested in helping, or actually see what's going on?
Meg Wilson's a PR lady for the NSPCA. And if she was a guy, I'd say she hasn't got the balls to come on board. She won't come onto this chat. I can promise you that now.
Well, I've extended the invite and given my Skype out, but she hasn't contacted me.
She won't.
Typical. Typical.
Well, I'd just say, Meg, I have extended the invitation, and the guys have said they'd love to have you on. So, it's up to you. Okay, let's just continue with the situation here. Okay, now the big spin-off for emerging farmers, and we're talking largely the African farmers and other farmers in security of sheep orders, is that they can get loans at the bank, and that's a good thing, isn't it? Greg? Oh, you're busy with the side chat.
The guys can almost get contracts with Almawashi and get paperwork that they'll order so many sheep, and on the strength of that, the emerging farmers can get loans where they'd never be able to get loans, and they can build up a sheep herd, and that's something wonderful for the emerging farmers.
Right. George, your thoughts on that? Is the ability to get loans on the sheep that you've contracted to very important for your business?
Absolutely. I mean, okay. It is very important. It's very important. I mean, for the emerging farmer in South Africa, I mean, they've got nowhere to go to get finances and loans and stuff like that, because they haven't got property to collateral for loans, because the government keep the farms for themselves. They don't put the farms onto those chaps' names, so they've got no collateral to go to the land bank or any commercial bank and said, I've got a farm that's worth 10 million. I want to borrow 2 million rand to start farming. And with this thing, they can get going. I mean, we've got staff. Me and Hannes has got staff that we've given them. Some of them we've given them sheep, a few ewe lambs. They bought some of our ewe lambs. They got their own farming, not on our farm, but in a black area next to us. And they bring their lambs to us, and we put them with our lambs in the lot, and we sold it for them to Almawashi. And that's how we try to get them going.
Right.
And if we can get farmers to get those people to become commercial farmers with us, then it will be fine. I mean, I'll help them as much as I can.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Now, Lazina Sheikh, I think, works for Almawashi, and he's made a couple of comments in here. I'll just tell you what he says. Almawashi will send you proof that they opened a line of communication to work together for protocols going forward for every shipment. And apparently the NSPCA have ignored that. And he also says Almawashi has given them off-take agreements. They can get loans and invest in their herds and provide quality export-ready sheep. And I guess that's what we're talking about here when it comes to getting loans from the banks, so you can actually improve the situation for your livestock.
No, that's correct. Sorry, someone just sent me a WhatsApp here. They say the ship takes 10 days to Oman and 14 days to Kuwait. I didn't have the exact dates, but that's what one of the someone sent me now.
Yeah, so the longest time is 14 days with the two different ports.
I think we're expecting this shipment to sort of land on the 18th, and then, as you said, our next is the 22nd is our next Skype meeting.
Right.
So hopefully we can have videos and report on the condition of the sheep and a lot more, which give evidence.
Well, I see that Meg Wilson has said that she would love to do a Skype with Loving Life, so perhaps we can get her on at the same time on the 22nd.
Okay,
That will be fine. That will be nice.
welcome.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, we'll put that to her.
We got loans. Yeah.
Now, okay. Now,
Is Skype not working now?
who? Her Skype?
Yeah.
I'm
Why
not
doesn't she
sure.
join us now?
Well, we have invited her. Hang on. There's something coming through here. Let me just accept this. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to see if this is this Meg. Okay. Meg is joining us now. Let me just. Okay. How do I get her? Okay, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut down this group that we've got going at the moment, and I'm going to open up a new group. So if you guys can just log out of Skype, all three of you, just log out of Skype, and I'm going to invite you to. Where is it? Okay, let me just shut that down. Meg Wilson. Okay, here we are. Hi, Meg.
Hey.
How are you?
Right, thanks. And yourself?
Great, thank you. Look, I'll just get the guys back on, okay, because I had to set up a new group.
Okay.
Okay, give me a second. Okay, add. And George. Hi guys, you back?
Yes, I'm here.
I'm just waiting for George to come on. Meg's joined us, which is great. So, Meg, you've been listening to the discussion. You there, Meg? Meg's left the call. Let me try again.
George,
Okay.
you've got your video now, eh? That's good.
Yeah, we got George's video on. Hi, Meg. You left the discussion there. Well, she keeps on leaving the discussion. Let me just try again. Hi, Meg. Are you there? Hi, Meg.
She's left again.
Hi, Meg. Are you there? She keeps on going in and out. Now let me just try and invite her again. Okay, add. Oh, she's in the conversation, but she's not showing. Hi, Meg. Can you hear us? Missed call. Let me just try her again. Add. Here we go. Hi, Meg. There you are. Okay. Now don't touch anything because you'll disappear again. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this to speaker view so that whoever is talking will be in the full screen. So, Meg, is there a question or a comment you would like to put to the farmers, seeing that you've been listening to the chat? Please go ahead.
Well, absolutely. First of all, I find it concerning that you have this conversation without the other party. You want to sit and basically say how terrible the NSPCA is and how, you know, that we're just in it for the money, but you don't involve us in the conversation until we actually engage with you. Secondly, you have farmers that seem to be pretty misinformed. For one thing, they're talking about being in line with the Australian standards, and yet the Australians have stopped summertime shipments because of the summer temperatures that go up to over 40 degrees. And yet we're accepting that this is okay here in South Africa, but we comply with Australian standards. It just makes no sense.
Okay, well, if I may just respond, hang on, guys, if I may just respond to the first point. The first point is that I didn't invite the NSPCA. Now, the reason we didn't invite the NSPCA is because we were going to have this discussion and then we were going to invite the NSPCA to respond, because that would have been less conflicting, if I can put it that way. But seeing you were on the side chat and we're happy to join the discussion, here's your opportunity. We're not denying you an opportunity at all. Okay, now do you just want to put the second point to these guys, and I'll let them respond.
You want me to?
I'd like to
Okay,
respond.
Greg, after you.
Meg says we won't communicate with her. Why do they keep blocking me on the Facebook page? And it's the second time now. All my videos, there weren't any nasty comments when the people say the sheep are drowning, they can't breathe, they've got no food, they've got no water. And I'd post videos, all my videos that I got from Talia, which is an independent Australian lady on the ship, checking on it. Why do people remove all my posts and block me off the page? And then you say, we won't communicate. I think that's a pot calling the kettle black.
Greg, first of all, I wasn't saying that you weren't communicating. As far as I'm concerned, this isn't your channel. And second of all, we didn't remove any videos from our Facebook page that you posted. We removed you from our Facebook post after the first and second shipments because you harassed our staff members and you made derogatory statements about our organisation. We are well within our right to do that.
There were no derogatory statements this time, and at all, and all my videos were removed because it doesn't suit you people for the people to see the truth.
I don't think that this is an argument that is worth having, because this has got absolutely nothing to do with the shipments. This has got to do with your personal issues with the NSPCA and the fact that we don't tolerate your nonsense on our Facebook page. But I will reiterate, we did not remove your videos from our Facebook page. I'm the person that administrates that Facebook page.
Okay,
so
Meg,
you removed them.
Okay, Greg.
They haven't been removed.
Greg, let's get back to the issue of the sheep. Okay, Meg, what's your issue with the sheep and the way they're shipped to the Middle East? Tell us that.
So first of all, you do state that these sheep are in excellent condition when they get on the ship. And of course they are in excellent condition when they get on the ship, because that will be the only way that they are potentially going to get to the other side alive. But the point is that you have a ship that travels for 14 days, and Mr. Miles again doesn't take into consideration the offloading at the various ports, which there are usually 3, and that takes about 2 days at each port, and that's where we get the 21 days from. So from the loading to the offloading, the longest the sheep will be on that ship is about 21 days. That ship does not get cleaned for the entire journey. They have to live in their own feces and urine. In the heat of the Middle Eastern and Northern Hemisphere summer, breathing in those noxious gases, and if you look at some of those pens, the sheep in the back and the weaker sheep are not going to make it to those food troughs or water troughs. It is fact. It has been proven. There is science behind it. There is a reason why the courts are actually listening to our cases, because there is science behind it.
But Meg, I have to just raise a point here, and that is that apparently the death rate is 0.04% when they get off the other end. How does that work?
You're also misinformed there, because the MD of Al-Mawashi actually wrote an affidavit saying that the death rate is 0.14%. So the information that you're getting from Mr. Miles is inaccurate.
Well, let's see what Greg has to say.
What is an acceptable death rate in a feedlot according to standards? Meg, do you know?
Greg Miles, the death rates in feedlots and the death rates on the ship are 2 very different things. If we're going to compare feedlots to the ship, then we best have the same standards on the ship as we do in feedlots. It's
just
plain
answer my
and
question. It's 3%.
It is completely different. The circumstances are different on a ship than in a feedlot.
Okay, now I've got to say, Meg, I've got to say. Okay, carry on, George.
I want to ask this one. She said that the sheep at the back of the pens won't get to the food, Now, in the same story in the feedlot. I mean, the troughs aren't all over the feedlot. So the sheep at the back of the feedlot won't get to the pen, to the feedlot, to the troughs in the front. I mean, that's ridiculous, girl. I'm sorry to say to you.
Have you personally ever been on a ship?
No, I've never been on the ship. Have you been on the ship?
Yes,
have you been on the ship?
Yes, I have been on the ship. In November last year.
On that ship. On that, will you be on that ship? I want to ask you that.
In November last year, my colleagues have been on the Almacela now twice.
Now, I have a question for you, Meg. I have a very simple question. Hang on, guys. Hang on. I have a very simple question for you. Now, Greg makes the point that in feedlots, an acceptable death rate of sheep is 3%. Now, you've just admitted that the death rate of sheep when they arrive at the other end is 0.14%, which is a fraction of what the acceptable death is in a feedlot. Now, why is that an issue then on ships?
And you know what the thing is, that the ship death rate or mortality rate is given by Almawashi themselves. They have no independent observers. In Australia, they do. And in Australia, their mortality rate is higher.
What is it?
What is it, John?
Do your own research, Greg.
I'm asking you now.
I'm telling you to do your own research. If you want to come onto a show like this and claim all these things about live export, I suggest that you inform yourself adequately.
So can't I ask you any questions? Yeah.
Well, what questions do you have to ask me, because you seem to know everything?
I just asked you a question and you won't answer it.
I'm telling you to do your own research. Go look up their reports.
Hannes, is there something you'd like to add to this?
I want to add something. I was there when we loaded the ship, and I spoke to a lot of the people that work loading the ship, and they involved in all of this. I'm not going to mention their names. But anyway, so what they told me is actually shocking. Megs, I would like to ask you. Like, they would say they go to the feedlot, and I mean, normal procedure in a feedlot, and I know it's not about the ship, it's something else. Normal procedure in the feedlot is you need clean water for the animals to put weight on. So they'll get there, the SPCA will come for inspection. There will be no water in the trough because it's busy being cleaned, and then they leave it for about, say, an hour in the sun, so it bakes and kills all the moss and bacteria in there. And then the next moment when they get on the end of the day and they write a statement, then they said, Doc, there's no water for the animals and the animals are starving and stuff. Isn't that just lying blatantly?
I wouldn't be able to comment on that because I'm not sure which feedlot you're referring to.
I'm referring to the feedlot where the sheep are kept before they get loaded on the ship. That specific feedlot.
I can tell you now, we have farm animal protection units that are experienced in farm animals. It is what they have studied. It is what they know. And if they see a contravention of the Animals Protection Act, they will issue a warning, or they will take further action and prosecute. That is their mandate. That is what they know how to do, and that is what they will do. So you can argue with us until you're blue in the face of what is supposedly good for animals, but they are supposed to have access to potable drinking water at all times, particularly a feedlot that has no shelter.
Okay, I've got a question for you, Meg. I can't do my homework because it's related to you. Why won't you guys engage with Ali?
You think that we haven't engaged with Ali and Almawashi?
No, I'm just asking you.
We had a meeting with Ali and Almawashi last year, before the first ship arrived.
Okay.
There's a guy on the side chat here who said that they've reached out to the NSPCA several times, and they've got no response.
Relating to what?
Well, actually monitoring what's happening on the ship. with a sheep.
Who has reached out?
Al Mawashi.
Al Mawashi have reached out to the NSPCA.
Yeah, it's here in the side chat. I've just got to find it. I actually read it out earlier.
Okay. Well, we're actually in the middle of litigation against Al Mawashi, so I'm assuming that if anyone from Al Mawashi reached out to the NSPCA, it would have been their lawyers, and our lawyers would have responded.
Yeah, the guy's name is Lazina Sheikh. Do you know Lazina Sheikh?
No.
All right, he seems to know a lot about what's going on at Al Mawashi. I'm just trying to find out where this actual statement is, because it basically reflects the view that you guys have not actually communicated with him or with Al Mawashi. Sorry guys, I'm just going through thousands of. Okay, and okay, here I think I've got posted now. Yeah. Well, while I'm doing this, Meg, do you want to ask them another question with something that they raised during our discussion? Please go ahead. I'll just find this and I'll tell you what he says.
One of the most prudent questions is, why will Al Mawashi not allow the NSPCA to accompany them on their journey?
You'll have to ask them that.
Yeah,
Since you're so close to them.
I definitely wouldn't have an individual like you on my ship. If it was my ship, you'd be banned. I would never have someone who's like you on my ship.
Okay, well, it wouldn't be me. It would be our veterinarian. So will you please ask them, because we have asked them and they won't allow us.
Okay, now I found the communication or the side chat comment. Lazina Sheikh writes as follows. Now, he says, Al Mawashi asked the NSPCA to work with them on a protocol for every shipment going forward, and they refused to work with the exporter. The exporter opened a direct line of communication. Why did the NSPCA refuse to work with Al Mawashi?
It's not that the NSPCA refused to work with Al Mawashi, it's that the conditions that we put forward to them, they refused. One of those conditions was just the question that I asked Greg now, is why we are not allowed to accompany the ship.
I've got a question here. You say you do the Facebook page, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so why would you lie and say you've got no communication, you don't know where the ship is, Al Mawashi won't communicate, and Ali sent me a screen capture that and email of communication with you people, and then you say on your Facebook page you'll update the people on if you found out, but you just blatantly lie. So you are posting stuff on the Facebook page. Scott, maybe you should just show her that screen capture.
Is that the one with the letter from Al Mawashi?
Yeah, there was also a screen. Ali sent me a screen capture.
I see.
Communicate.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys continue talking while I look for it, okay?
Can you tell me why you are lying on the Facebook page?
We have not lied on our Facebook page.
Your Facebook page clearly says communication from Al Mawashi is not forthcoming. You don't know where the ship is, and you are seriously concerned. Isn't that what you put on your Facebook page?
Which date? What date was that, Greg?
I haven't got the date here in front of me, but I did you must have posted it, so you should remember. Why should I remember what you typed? Haven't you done your homework?
You're asking the question.
You posted it. You post on the Facebook page. What doesn't matter what date it was. You said the ship's missing. Everyone's concerned. You don't know where they are, and Mawashi won't communicate with you. I've got proof that they have been communicating with the NSPCA. So that means you're a liar.
That means I'm a what?
That means you're lying.
Okay, look, I'm going to just put up a screen, guys, and I'll read it to you. Everybody who's watching this can see this now. although you can't see it because you're on Skype. It's NSPCA, National Council of SPCAs. It says live export update. Al Masila, livestock vessels still in South African waters despite loading having ended days ago. The NSPCA has serious concerns regarding the welfare of the sheep and cattle which were loaded onto the Al Masila livestock vessel. Loading commenced last Sunday, 30th of August 2020, and the last animal was loaded onto the vessel on Tuesday evening, the 1st of September 2020. The vessel departed the East London harbour on Thursday, on the 3rd of September, but did not make its way towards the Middle East. Instead, it is currently in the opposite direction, just outside the port of Port Elizabeth. Now, let's just see. Approximately 51,000 sheep and some 650 head of cattle have now been on board the vessel for nearly a week, and the vessel has yet to leave South African waters. We do not know the exact reason for this, as response to inquiries made to Al Mawashi, South African Managing Director, Mr. Ilyas Ali, has not been forthcoming. The time that these animals have already been on board the vessel, and taking into consideration the approximately 3 weeks of voyage to the Middle East, is alarming and irresponsible. Heat on board the vessel is one of our primary concerns, and together with the potentially high ammonia levels will lead to welfare compromise and unnecessary suffering, which you know will ultimately be inevitable. We are hoping to receive a response as to the reasons the vessel has not yet left South Africa, and we pray that the animals have not started succumbing to the unnecessary stress and cruelty imposed on them. The NSPCA remains opposed to live export of animals by sea, and such incidents bear testimony to the irresponsibility and unreliability of this mode of transportation of animals. An update will be posted as soon as we have further information. Now, I'm going to ask Greg to respond to that first, and then we'll just put this around the table and get Meg to speak to that as well. Greg?
Well, Mr. Ali sent me a screen capture that I'm not sure if it was Grace, I haven't got it in front of me yet, been communicating with them. And he also said that the ship can't leave the harbour in Port Elizabeth because the waves were over 1.5 meters, and all this communication had been passed on to the NSPCA, and they chose not to use it. And maybe if they say the ship's missing and they won't communicate, everyone will be worried and donate funds. I don't know. And they always say the sheep suffer in a feedlot. Well, you guys made them suffer another 3 months by keeping them in the feedlot through the court cases. Poor sheep are suffering in a feedlot. It's horrendous. Let us keep them there another 3 months.
Meg?
Okay, can I respond?
Please go ahead.
Okay. First of all, we did approach Ali and we got a response saying that he would just get back to us. Hence the reason why we said it was not forthcoming. He only got back to us the next day. Surely the MD of Al Mawashi should know where his ship is at all times. He had no clue. Furthermore, they were in Port Elizabeth to get fuel. That is completely irresponsible. They should have made sure that they had enough fuel before they even loaded those sheep. To have them on the ship
in East London because you people made them wait 3 months.
I gave you an opportunity to talk. I would expect the same respect from you.
Pleasure, my dear.
Go ahead, Meg.
Thank you. They should have made a plan before loading those sheep to ensure that they had enough fuel for the journey. That would have been the responsible thing to do. Whether that costs them more or not, it doesn't matter. The point is that they should have been responsible. On top of what you were saying about keeping the sheep in the feedlot for an extra 3 months, I remind you, Greg, that it was Al Mawashi that had a problem with every judge that was appointed to the case. We were ready to go ahead with the case from the beginning. But because they did not like the judges for whatever reason that were appointed to the case, they asked for postponements. So the reason why it took 3 extra months is on them. It is not on us.
What happened to the case? Who won?
You know what? It's actually disheartening to see how everyone is laughing at the fact that animals are going to suffer because of this. It's
Megan,
disheartening.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
If we had won, I certainly would not be sitting here on this call laughing at the farmers, because we do have compassion for the farmers.
George?
We wish that there was meat trade rather than a live animal trade. In fact, we have encouraged this. We have suggested this to the government.
Okay, George, over to you. Okay, Meg, let George speak now.
Don't have to suffer.
Okay, let George speak now. Yeah, George?
Megan, I'm a livestock farmer. I don't want my stock to suffer. If I know my sheep will suffer on that ship by drowning in the dung and stuff like that, I will never put it on there. But it doesn't happen. If you allow us to do that, we, in our area, in the Eastern Cape, the donations to the SPCA just dried up, finish and close. The chaps don't. But if you allow us, and we will even donate more to the SPCA. Me and Greg has donated lots of bales and stuff to the NSPCA or to the SPCA in Stadtrand. But that you don't. You just there, and it's just sensation what the SPCA is running on. Sorry.
Okay. All right. I'm going to come back at that, because we don't have reasons yet from the judge why he allowed this ship to go. But the second judge followed Australian science and said that they cannot go in this blistering heat. So there is no reason why we should even deny the fact that these animals suffer. I posed a question to you earlier. I asked you, had you ever been on one of these ships? And you said no. We have a veterinarian from Australia who has been on more than 50 of these shipments. And she says there is undeniable entrenched cruelty in this trade.
That's what they've been paid to do that. They've been paid to do that.
Hannes,
to switch off the stuff.
In this country. At the end of the day, she has sworn affidavits, she has scientific proof, and she is not the only one that has this proof in these affidavits. It has been proven. There is a reason why Australia has banned these during the summer months.
Hannes, you wanted to say something?
Okay. I don't want to change the topic, but I've got a question. So, just before the court case was basically done, and Mawashi won, obviously, there was the SPCA said the ship's not in the port, they can't load the ship, where's the ship, all kinds of things. Meanwhile, the ship was in the port, it had to stay there. It couldn't go fill up with fuel because it had to stay there. And then another question I wanted to ask, the day when we were loading on Monday, I think it's the 31st of August. So anyway, the SPCA people there, the inspector said the sheep was, there was so much force used, too much force used, and they must use minimum force on the sheep and whatever. I want to ask you, how do you measure sheep or force that you use to move a sheep? How do you measure that force? What's the standard there? Please explain to me. I would like to know that.
I certainly wouldn't be pulling the sheep by its feet. I wouldn't be punching it in the face or pulling it by its ears or twisting its tail. It's that simple.
Okay.
I wouldn't be kicking it in the room.
I've got it.
It's that simple.
Okay, now, Meg, I want to ask you a question. Okay, now, the Speaker of the House of Parliament is Thandi Modise. And in 2014, infamously, about 50 of her livestock on her farm died because of neglect. You remember that? Mm-hmm. Now, the SPCA, let me just finish a question. Let me just finish a question, please. Let me just finish a question. The SPCA attended that particular situation, and I have a video where the guy from the SPCA says, we are going to take this to court. Now, they never did. Well, AfriForum did in 2020 because nothing had happened.
It's acting on behalf of the NSPCA. We have employed them to privately prosecute our case. We have not given up on the Thandi Modise case. The National Prosecuting Authority denied the prosecution of this case. We have the right to privately prosecute in South Africa. We employed AfriForum to privately prosecute this case on behalf of us. So we have not done nothing.
So why do we only hear about AfriForum and not at the NSPCA when they talk about this?
Media then.
Okay, well that's the when I asked the question because the media talk about AfriForum taking Thandisi Modise to the court, not the NSPCA.
The media always say that AfriForum is acting on behalf of the NSPCA. It is our case. They may make it in the headlines at AfriForum and Carrinell is prosecuting this case because it's what sells newspapers. But at the end of the day, it's our case.
Okay, well, I'm pleased we clarified that.
Quick question. Yeah.
Go ahead, Greg.
The NSPCA inquired when the ship when they were concerned it was missing. They inquired after 8 p.m. on the Friday evening. And Elias Ali replied immediately the next morning. And he got an automatic reply saying they are closed till Monday. But they expect him to be up 24/7 answering their questions. I think if they asked after 8 o'clock on a Friday night and he replied first thing Saturday morning, I think that's ample response, and up to date, they haven't given update or where the ship is. It's all just sensationalism. They got communication. They won't post it. More videos have been removed. So, it's just scary what they get up to.
It's interesting, Greg, that's what's quite wrong with the NSPCA. The fact of the matter is those animals, according to the law, belong to Almawashi, and their representative in South Africa is Ali. And therefore, he is responsible for those 56,000 animals on that ship. And so he should be accountable for them. It's the bottom line. I truly believe that this conversation is actually going to be completely unfruitful. So I would like to say thank you so much for hosting me, but I'm going to bow out tonight.
Well,
good night, my dear. I won't be missing you.
Okay, hey guys, pull your head in.
Bye-bye.
And now, I wanted to ask her a really important question, but anyway. All right, guys, look, we heard it from the NSPCA. I'll tell you the question I wanted to ask Meg before she disappeared. And that was, okay, things probably aren't like a 5-star hotel for the sheep on that ship, okay? We accept that. But when you consider the conditions of sheep around the country, especially in the drought where they're dying on their feet because they haven't got any food, they haven't got any water, you've got a mortality rate of just 0.14% on the ship, according to the Almawashi or whatever it is. And that to me is quite extraordinary. I don't see the problem. George?
Scott.
Yeah, let Hannes answer. Yeah.
Scott, I mean, if you take that mortality, it's so low. I mean, I went on the ship. I saw what condition the ship is and how it looks and stuff. I mean, it is really not what they make it. And I mean, I know of farmers. I mean, farmers really live for their animals. And I mean, I can prove that. I know farmers that literally took all their life savings and they put it into their animals in that drought just to keep them alive. That's what farmers do. Farmers won't let their animals get neglected, let them lie in dung and let them die there. I mean, if you look in the ship inside there, there's more than enough space for the animals to eat. There's more than enough space for the animals to drink. Obviously, those things are all built, they're built to a certain standard. So, I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, these people really, I mean, you can't argue like that. I mean, they really just pick stuff out of the air and just try to make something of it. And it's all, like my dad says, it's all sensation. That's what it's all about. It's sensation. They just want to get those donations from the people who are misinformed. And that's what it's all about from them.
Well, I have to say it's disappointing that Meg just left like that because, this was an opportunity and anyway, what can I say?
You see what George Goddard has just commented.
What did he say?
NSPCA.
Yeah. running away again.
Running away like scared rabbits.
Well, as I say, it's just disappointing because, this was an opportunity to actually get some facts going rather than just be totally confrontational all the time. Yeah.
Scott, have you not got that screen capture of Ali's that I sent you? I think it's green and black. And
oh, yes, I've got that. But they're like little notes to each other.
Yes, can you
I'll put that up. Hang on. Let me just get it. I've actually got the Al-Mawashi letter dated the 11th September, where it says, Al-Mawashi, South Africa, has welcomed the outcome of a formal investigation by ISPA South Africa, South Africa's internet industry representative body, and a decision by its member Nilo, a web hosting company, to take down a South African anti-live export website with immediate effect. But that's really not related to this particular discussion, but I have shown that it's been down. Let me just get that file up. I know exactly the one you're talking about. I'll just get it. Here we are. Here it is, here. Okay, open with. Okay, do that one. There we go. Okay, so it's on the screen. And it's from Grace de Lange. And it says, 2nd of September 2020. Hi, Grace, an email will be sent to you shortly.
Yes.
And then it says, email has been sent to you regarding above, thanks. And then yesterday, well, I don't know when yesterday is, because I don't know the date of this thing. But it says, yeah, it's obviously a different day.
It's a third. Yesterday was the 3rd of September.
Right, okay. So on the 3rd of September, Grace replies, good evening, I hope that you're well. I see that Al-Masila is still in South Africa. Is there a problem? It has been 5 days since the first animal was loaded. And then today, which is obviously the 4th, Al responds, good morning, Grace, trust you well. The vessel is currently bunkering at PE Harbour to refuel on marine diesel and oil. The vessel will be on its way as soon as this process is completed. The vessel can be tracked on the marine tracker. If you have any further information, please WhatsApp or call me. Hope you have a good day henceforth. And that's it.
And then the SPCA chose to ignore that and post on their Facebook page. They don't know where the ship is, and Al-Mawashi won't communicate with them. Just like Meg said, my videos are all on the Facebook page. She deleted and blocked every video that makes the sheep look well on their page, been removed. I'm also blocked from commenting on that page now.
Yeah, well, the Facebook page is really a side issue. The main issue is the live export industry, and based on what I'm hearing tonight, with that incredibly low death rate, I mean 0.14% or 0.04%, whatever it might be, it's incredibly low. When you consider sheep on the farm, they fall in holes, they get swept down rivers, they die. I mean, it's you know, it seems a ridiculous argument that they shouldn't be allowed to go for export and raise money for farmers who are battling financially.
Exactly.
Scott, I want to just end again. Sorry, Hannes. Go ahead, Hannes.
Okay, sorry. Scott, I mean, we won't be so confident coming to you and asking you to host us on your program if we know something's wrong on our side. We know the facts. The writing's on the wall. Everything's right there. I mean, we've got absolutely nothing to hide. And I mean, we're not lying. I mean, the facts are on the wall, and these people don't want to believe it. They chuck everything under the bus. They made their own stories up. As you can see, Uncle Greg proved twice or 3 times that they were not speaking the truth. I mean, what else do I have to say, you know?
Yeah. Well, look, as I say, it's just a shame Meg left it like that. Yeah, carry on, Greg.
No, it's George. Yeah, Scott. She said the sheep stand in their feces and their urine. Accept that. That's fine. But you can't go in there with a hose pipe and wash that stuff now. You're gonna wet all the food. You're gonna make it more uncomfortable for that sheep.
Right.
So I mean, it's not. And she said the stench of that stuff. That wind, what you call it, that wind shafts and stuff. That stuff blew all that, blew all fresh air into that compartments. So I mean, I can't, I can't see their story that the stench and the amount of feces. You know what? We've got all sheep sheds where the sheep are sleeping. We put them in when we share them. And it's cold. We've got these cold, rainy nights. We put them in that shed. Some of those sheds have got a foot of dung in, and that's actually better because it keeps the sheep dry.
Right.
I see Grace de Lange's commented here. She's the one who Ali in that screen capture. She's the one.
Right.
Yeah, I see she's commented now.
Okay. Well,
she said we do not make stories up. Ali was communicating with her.
Right. Okay. Well, apparently there were a day's delay between the. Let me get that conversation back up again. Where is it? I think it's this one. Yeah, here we are. Okay. There it is. Okay, Grace, is this your conversation with Ali? I'll just put that up on the side chat so I can just get a response to Grace. Oh, it is Grace de Lange here. Okay, now I guess the real important point here is that he says the vessel can be tracked on the marine tracker. Grace, do you have a comment about that? Okay, we'll just see we'll wait for Grace to actually respond to that. All right, guys, look, I really do feel that this is making a mountain out of a molehill because, sheep are raised to be slaughtered for food, and if you are a meat eater, you become a vegetarian. Then that's the only option. And it is the harsh reality of how farmers get their income to survive. Anything you guys want to respond to with that?
Being a vegetarian, I think, does more danger, is more detrimental than meat eaters, because plants also communicate. Plants have also got feelings. How come when buck graze on thorn trees, when they start grazing on it, a thorn tree will put acid in its leaves to make it not tasty, and pheromones are released. So trees communicate with the other trees and tell them, hey, this buck's eating me, and then the other trees all become sour. That's why they graze upwind. But if you go and do a little bit of research, you'll see veganism and isn't as healthy for the planet as everyone makes it out to be.
Well, I'm going to continue to eat meat. George, over to you.
Yeah, I just want to say, like Greg said earlier, the SPCA does good work. Exactly. They have excellent workplace. I mean, that Tandy Modise case, that's excellent. But, and as I said, here why don't they come and help us here where the cattle get hacked with axes and stuff and get cut off alive, and the police just do nothing, and we asked the SPCA and said, well, they just don't do that. They just don't comment on that. So I think they should rather go and do their work in places where animals get properly abused and leave us with a ship. We'll farm, we'll get our stock on the ship, and we'll make sure OIC standards and all that. We will make that sure that that's been handled properly, and we export the sheep.
Well, I think there are two main issues here. The first one is that it's in everybody's interest that the sheep get to the destination in good health. Otherwise, they're not going to sell those sheep because they've got to be sold live to the end user. So that's the first point. And the second point is that when it comes to the actual sheep themselves, you know, it's not a 5-star hotel when they're walking around the farm looking for a scraps of food, and it certainly isn't a 5-star hotel when they're in a township somewhere. And you know, to expect this to be like 5-star accommodation on a boat going up to the Middle East seems a little bit of a long call to me.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Yeah. Scott, if you go into towns like Butterworth, Mtata, where these speculators buy the sheep on the sales, they go to Mtata, they stand for a whole day on a trailer or on a bakkie to get sold. And then they get dragged with a rope around their neck to a location, to a house somewhere, and get tied up at night to a tree or in a kraal where they haven't had food for the whole day, the whole night, and they get slaughtered the next day or abused the next day, not even slaughtered properly, abused. I mean, it is, one chap said at that meeting with Gerrie Nelwe and said, he had, I don't know, 200 hamels that were supposed to go to the ship. A speculant came and bought him. He said he was horrified to think what's going to happen to his sheep in those areas.
Right.
So, I mean, standing for 10 days in a bit of feces and urine to what actually happens there is not, it's not a comparison.
Well, let me ask you something, George. I mean, you are a long-time livestock farmer. Is it quite common for sheep to be in the position, especially if they're in the stalls, for example, to be in that situation where they've got feces and urine around them?
Yeah, if in those sheds, if they go in there, yeah, man, that happens. Especially at cold nights and rainy nights when they're shorn. When they're not shorn, they got long wool on, they sleep outside or they go out, they stay outside. But I mean, that's normal practice, and it's actually better to have them on that dung because it keeps them dry. That dung absorbs all the wetness and stuff.
Right.
So that keeps them dry.
Now, this might sound foreign to people listening, but you are a long-term livestock farmer, and you know the best way to maintain the health of your sheep.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. And as I said how many times? I don't want my sheep to drown in their dung and their urine. I don't want that.
Yeah.
That sheep, I mean, I'll take pride in my sheep. Okay, I sell them to Amawashi. When they leave here, they're not my sheep anymore. But I've still got pride in them when they're on wherever they go to.
Right. Now, Greg, is there something you'd like to add?
I see Grace has been commenting a lot here, but she didn't answer your question.
Yeah, I thought she disappeared.
No, she's been commenting
here.
Okay. She said, but it's sort of nonsensical. She says, when they leave South Africa, the farmers get paid. That's it. But I mean, anyone who sells a product, they get paid.
Yeah.
So I don't know what she's getting at here.
But
and
Grace,
she didn't ask your question. Maybe she could answer us why she never passed the communication on from Omawashi to Megan.
Well, I just saw Lazina Sheikh wrote, Ali responded as soon as all the information was available. Factual. He even sent her an email, yet NSPCA failed to update their Facebook page with Ali's update to them. And, you know, that's kind of confirmed by that exchange that I put up there. And I'll put it up there once more, just so everybody can have a good look at it. But clearly he says that they can track the boat.
That exchange was with Grace himself.
Right, yeah, that's right,
Just
with
shows
Grace,
you
yeah.
Scott, I just want to say, this just shows you how misinformed they are. That I don't get paid when the sheep leave South Africa. I get paid 7 days after they left my farm.
Yeah.
So if they left my farm, I get paid 7 days after that. Then it's Almawashi's sheep. It's not my sheep anymore. But I still take pride in them. Although if I get to that feedlot, I will never recognize my sheep anymore, because it's been between 70,000 sheep. You're not going to get out 200 sheep or whatever. But again, this is how misinformed they are. I don't get paid when the sheep left South Africa. 7 days after they left the farm, I've got my money in my bank again.
Right. Okay. Well, look, guys, I'm going to wrap up this discussion shortly. I think we're going around in square circles at the moment. I totally get your perspective. I still don't quite understand why the NSPCA see this as such a big issue, because let's face it, the sheep never live in a five-star hotel, but they do get to the other side clearly. Otherwise, they would not be shipping them to the Middle East. It would be uneconomic to do so. So clearly, the sheep are getting there, and the reason they're going there is to be slaughtered. That is the bottom line. They're going there to be slaughtered for food in the Middle East. I think on the 22nd we'll see if we can get Meg back on with you guys, and we can try and sort this out, because I'd like this resolved. I'd like you guys to be on the same page, and I think the only way to do that is to have you all chatting away and seeing if we can find some common ground over this issue. I'm going to just close off by just asking each of you to talk to the subject, and anything else you'd like to say to people who are watching. We've got about 200 people still watching at the moment. I'll start off with Greg. Greg, do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, I see there's a guy here who commented, Oki's Trade-Om. He says, you can see these guys are real wolves. Thank you. Thanks for supporting us. And then Grace said you threw her off.
Threw her off what?
How you can... I don't know. She just said you threw her off.
How can I throw her off?
I don't know. That's what she said, yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know how that happened, because I've been talking to you, so I don't know how that happened. Anyway, let's not worry about that. So, Greg, in closing, what would you like to say to people watching this?
Don't believe everything the NSPCA says. We're going to give you more video footage of the sheep. We'll give you video footage of the sheep disembarking. And this year, agriculture was the biggest contributor to the South African GDP. And there's nothing else I have to say.
All right. Well, food security is a critical issue, isn't it? Okay. Over to you, George. Is there something you'd like to say to people in a closing statement?
Yeah, I just want to say, and I just want to thank Greg for all the video footage that he took on the chip and shows the NSPCA around. And yeah, we gotta get food security in South Africa is one of the biggest things, and food security through the world. And we gotta get everybody gotta get some food. And I would love to resolve this case with the SPCA and sort it out. But it looks to me they are there just to fight with us and and fight their own case to create sensation. No, that's it. Thank you.
Well, I think the big issue really is that if you wanted to maintain five-star hotel standards on a farm for the sheep would be so expensive by the time they got into the stores. You'd be paying about $100 per kilo or something like that, or 1,000 rand per kilo. And clearly, you've got to compromise, because people wouldn't be able to eat meat then. Now, Hannes, over to you. What do you have to say?
Scott, yeah, firstly, I want to thank you for the opportunity, giving our farmers a voice and giving us opportunity to get our message out there. I think it's very important for the public and the people out there to see that we're not the bad guys. We are actually the guys looking after the sheep. And I think it's very important for the people to see it because, yeah, some, like the SPCA, has got a hidden agenda. I mean, I was there, I saw it with my own eyes. I can send anyone videos. Anyone who wants to talk to me or contact us are more than welcome. And yeah, I mean, we as farmers are excited about this. We're positive about this. And we thank Omawashi for putting their trust in the South African farmers. And I think this is going to be massive for us. I know we're going to win it. And we're going to show that we've got the best sheep in the world, and we're doing the thing right, and there's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
Okay, great. All right, guys, look, we have got another scheduled live stream on the 22nd of September, so we can follow up the sheep getting to the other end. And obviously, I'm going to be getting some live footage from Greg, I hope, of that happening, and also some documentation perhaps of fatality rates or whatever it might be, so we can actually, you know, see before and after the arrival. I just want to thank the moderators who've been looking after the side chat. It's probably been pretty active. I haven't had a chance to look at the side chat really tonight, guys, except for a couple of times. So I noticed that Greg's been keeping an eye on it. That's great.
There's one here, Lazika Sheikh says, putting the NSPCA vet on the ship is like asking a vegan to do taste testing of meat products.
Okay. All right. I want to thank the members of the NSPCA who've joined us tonight, and I hope that Megan will come on the 22nd so we can have a bit of a round table. And tonight was a bit sort of spontaneous, but you know, I welcome the NSPCA joining us to give their point of view and their perspective. And I don't want them to feel like we're just taking one side of the story. We're not. They're welcome to come and join us on the 22nd. All right, guys, I'll leave that side to Marlena. Marlena obviously looks after the live stream. So, Marlena, if you can speak to Meg or Grace or whoever it might be from the NSPCA who would join us on the 22nd. That gives you, let's see, it gives you a week to prepare, so you can get all your facts together on both sides, and let's have a live stream about this whole issue.
Someone's just sent me a message. Sorry. We'll see if we can get one of the black emerging farmers to join us on next time. Someone sent me one of his numbers.
All right, that'd be great. Do that. Let's do it. Okay, can you set up that side for me, Greg?
I'll see what I can do.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, because I mean, let's face it, it's a living. You guys have got to make a living. You've got to survive, and you know, as I say, you can't put sheep in a 5-star hotel. It's just impossible.
It's impossible.
Okay, now I just want to thank everybody who's joined us tonight. I'm sure you found the discussion interesting. As I say, on the 22nd we'll have a second one. Please take care. I'm going to shut down the live stream now, but before I do, I want to thank my guests, Greg, Hannes, and of course George, and of course Meg. And Meg, it was a pleasure to have you on the live stream for the short while you were here. All right, guys, please take care and have a great evening. Bye for now.